Hey, welcome into the CitrusTV newsroom. I'm Jesse Cook with Anthony Vasquez, Jack Gordon, and we've got something called the Very Pulpy podcast. Oh, wait, no. There's none?
There's none.
There's no pulp.
No pulp.
There's no pulp.
There's no pulp.
It's a podcast with absolutely no orange juice involved. No pulp. So, with that in mind, why don't we just get things rolling now? I've heard that there is a Big 12 tournament for men's and women's basketball. I'm not sure about this.
I've heard there's conference tournaments across the board. This is March.
What? That's crazy.
This is March. We sleep in May.
This is March.
This is March.
See,
Time to wake up and smell the basketball.
I had my calendar set back. I was
you
looking.
Get the name of the show wrong. You got.
Well, I mean, how can you expect there to be no pulp? Absolutely. I figured there'd at least be some.
None whatsoever. Don't even think about it.
Well, women's basketball Big 12 tournament. I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of Texas right now. I think they've got great defense. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm horns down.
Horns up, baby.
Down.
Horns up.
I'm horns down.
I think they've got such a good defense that they're impossible to stop at the moment. Now, I'm not convinced. I think they could be NCAA champions at this point. I know it's weird because they're a 4 seed at the moment, but hey, keep winning. They're going to move right up.
Right. But not only are they not going to be NCAA champions, but they won't be Big 12 champions either. Let me tell you why. There's this team called the Baylor Bears. They're an absolute wagon. #1 overall seed. They have the best player in the conference, Nalissa Smith. She's averaging 22-12 off of 56% shooting. They're not going to lose. The only Big 12 team they've lost to, they only have a few losses. They lost to Oklahoma twice. Probably not going to lose again. They've smacked Texas. They'll do it again.
See, I don't know about that. So you look at the defensive game. Rebounding and blocks. Deona Gaston right now is probably one of the best players in all of women's college basketball. But then the stealing game, they've got 3 dynamic stealers all near the top of the conference, and Roy Hartman, who leads the Big 12 in steals. Aaliyah Mataru and Audrey Warren are also in the top 15. No other team has talent like that when it comes to nabbing the ball. I don't think. Look, defense wins championships, Jack.
I like that. That's more football for me. In college basketball, I like to see a good shootout most of the time. If Texas can keep if they do end up playing Baylor, they can keep that into the low 50s, low 60s. Then maybe they can pull it out. But no, I think Baylor's scoring all day.
I'll tell you what, Baylor needs this game to be #1 seed. They're a 2 seed right now in the women's bracketology.
So what happens if Baylor loses? Because let's face it, they will.
Then they're not a 1.
I think they won't even be a 2. But.
Yeah, I'm wondering at a certain point if they're top half, if they're like a 9 through 16 seed.
They're not going to be a 9 to 6. They're a 2 seed right now.
Yeah, but you lose an embarrassing game in the Big 12 tournament.
Is Texas an embarrassing game?
Well, it depends on how bad they get beat.
They already beat them twice this year. They aren't beating them again.
Yeah, that's not.
I don't know.
They are losing.
Defense wins championships.
All right, my pick is Baylor on the women's side, but on the men's side, Big 12 tournament. Who are you guys thinking?
I think I have to go. Definitely not Texas Tech. I think they're a team that can get there.
Definitely not Texas Tech. Well,
Oklahoma.
keep going, and then I'll destroy your argument. But okay.
Oklahoma. I think we can get to a team like Texas Tech. Their ceiling is losing the championship game. I think they're very good, but I just don't think they have the success numbers. I don't think they have the ability to succeed in that conference. Oklahoma right now, they're near the top in scoring in the conference. They're near the top in defense in the conference. It's just a numbers game.
It's one of those things where you get hot at the right time, like Oklahoma does. They're in the first 4.
True.
But it's not even about getting hot at the right time. They just lead in almost every stat.
They do have the bubble
trouble
mentality
closing
right now,
games.
too. Like, they need to play their hearts out right now to get in. One thing, though. Remember what you said about 2 minutes ago? Defense wins championships? Texas Tech is the best defensive team in the nation. They held the team they played last night. They beat Iowa State. They held them to 40. If they can score over 65 points, if they get to 70, they're beating anybody. I want to see them play Kansas, and I think they will beat them. They are my pick. They're electric.
I want to see them play in the tournament. I can't wait for some Texas Tech action.
Yeah.
I do like watching them in the round of 64.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think they'll get there. I don't think the NCAA tournament is at all out of question for these guys. Mm-hmm. I think it's anything but a sure thing. Unless they get beat like 90-20, I don't think there's any chance that Texas Tech is out of the picture. Oklahoma, so you were talking about defense wins championships, and yes, Texas Tech right now, they're the top defensive team in the nation, but you know who's right behind them in the Big 12 is Oklahoma, and I'm sorry, Oklahoma, the Sooners have a better offense. Sure, Texas Tech, they've got that mentality. They're always playing with a chip on their shoulder after losing to Villanova a couple years ago in the championship game for everything. But there is just absolutely no way, I think, that you can take down the Sooners at the moment. There just isn't. They're too well-rounded.
I think you can, because if they happen to beat Texas Tech, I don't think they're beating Kansas. I think Kansas just has too much star power there. I think Remy Martin is the X factor in this whole tournament. Coming off the bench, I mean, he hasn't really gelled with the team so far, but he was probably the biggest transfer in the portal, and he ended up at Kansas. He's really talented, and if he decides to get hot, they'll probably end up winning this whole thing. But I'm still taking Texas Tech.
You have to realize, like, beating Texas Tech and then Kansas, that's a gauntlet.
They haven't done anything like that all year, Oklahoma.
Gauntlet.
Hey, don't count out the Sooners.
I might count the Sooners.
What is a Sooner?
I don't know.
Is that like coal miners or something?
I don't think so.
There's a lot of teams that have weird.
They're a fun team, though. They're cool.
Yeah. I can appreciate their colors. Now, we talked Big 12. But Big East.
We'll stay big. We'll stay big.
Well, we'll keep it big. These are big. Fairly big games to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, I'm not taking Providence.
I'm not either.
I'm not either.
Really? I think that's kind of crazy, though, because they're such a fun team. Like, everybody gets behind them. I think the Magic's going to fizzle out.
I'm not sure there even is a whole lot of magic. It's just they keep getting lucky. You look... They're not very good from a statistics standpoint. They're good game managers, but that can only last you so long, especially against teams who see you every single time and learn from you.
I don't know if you've looked at, Ken Pom.
The luckiest team in college basketball?
He's got this statistic, luck, and they are the luckiest team in the nation. I don't know how much I put into that, but Ken Pom, he's right a lot about stuff. He's a smart guy.
Luck runs out, though.
It does.
That's why I don't think they're in the first round, to be honest, if they're like a 4 seed.
Oh, the tournament?
Really?
Yeah. Or I can see that happening. It'd be difficult.
Because like he has Providence as Lenardi has Providence as a 4 playing Chattanooga. That's a winnable game for Chattanooga.
Ooh, that's interesting.
But how many other teams are there like Chattanooga that can take them down?
That's why I want to see in conference. I think they'll beat Creighton, and then I think they'll play Villanova, who I think will beat UConn. If they beat Creighton and then Nova or UConn, that's tournament momentum. Like, then they're real.
Okay, so now they're 3. I don't think they're losing to a 14, but like Chattanooga,
if they end up winning this whole thing. Yeah.
Oh wait. So who do you guys have winning the Big East?
I have Nova. Why not?
I do as well. I think they're beating UConn. They're not going to lose them again, and then I think they're going to run through Providence.
I like the Nova pick, but I just think UConn is the most well-rounded team in that conference. I think that when you get to a team like the Huskies, that first of all is getting back to its Kemba Walker days and learning how to win again.
True.
I think there's a mentality, not just on that campus, but around the actual program that really helps their chances. I think it's tough for any team to take them down. And by the way, again, I love to go to total offense and total defense. They're the only team that's really that's near the top in both categories. It's all about being well-rounded at this point. You can get the momentum, you can get hot at the right time, but a team that knows how to score and knows how to block is a team that knows how to score and knows how to block.
It's good to see him back, though. The end of the Kevin Ollie day was kind of rough.
Yeah, I do like seeing them back. They're a fiery team.
Remember they made it to the championship one year? As like a 9 seed?
Yeah.
That was insane.
I mean, in our lifetime, they've won at least 2 championships. Yeah. Kemba Walker, Shabazz Napier.
Shabazz Napier.
Shabazz.
That's my guy.
But yeah, with them, I think they have the highest ceiling because they're a pretty young team. They got Andre Jackson, insane athlete from Central New York, Eastern Albany area. Probably should have ended up at Syracuse, but he didn't. He's a crazy athlete. Sonogo down low, he's a crazy athlete too. And R.J. Cole can score with anybody. So I agree with you. If that team gets hot, there's no stopping them in this conference tournament. I just don't think it's going to happen against Villanova.
Don't be surprised if Providence loses today, too. I'm not saying they will, but don't be surprised. They're only 3-point favorites right now.
I've got Providence winning today and losing in the
I
championship.
think that'll probably be
The
happening.
one thing I'm surprised about in the Big East is how chalk it is. The semifinals is 1, 2, 3, and 4. All season, I feel like we've kind of seen a lot of Big East magic, upsets.
Georgetown.
Yeah,
the
well,
bid
they
stealer.
didn't win a game, but
No, I'm talking about last year.
yes.
Georgetown.
I thought we were going to see something like that.
But since Syracuse left the Big East, has there really been a whole lot of crazy upsets? There are some notable ones, but it's not as exciting
Outside of
as
Villanova.
it used to be.
Villanova's pretty good, but they didn't pull any upsets. Who's a good Big
Yeah,
East
yeah.
upset team?
I mean, UConn.
I mean, I feel like in the last few years we've seen some spicy Creighton, Seton Hall, Butler teams.
I did have
Like
Creighton.
that middle of the Big East pack is interesting.
A very hopeful Jesse Cook last year in one of his brackets had Creighton going all the way.
Okay, that's
I was-
outrageous.
I was excited last season.
Someone's a Blue Jay
Clearly,
fan.
yeah.
Not really. No, I was excited to see a Big East team. Now, when it comes to the Big East, I generally lean rooting for Providence just because I'm from Massachusetts. Figure.
Fair. Wait, you're from Mass?
Yeah.
Do you like Boston?
Do I like Boston?
Didn't know that about
Only
you.
took him 10 minutes to figure out he said he's from Massachusetts.
Yeah. Well, I like the proximity of Providence, but actually, the first time I ever came into contact with anything with the word Syracuse on it, Syracuse versus Providence in the dunk, like 10 years ago.
Really?
It was,
Okay.
Throwback the
it's
Dunkin'
what
Donuts
made,
Arena.
It's what made me an orange.
There you go.
Don't knock the dunk. It's a great arena.
All right, so we're talking Big East now. How about some old Big East teams? New conference ACC.
Look, are they really old Big East teams?
I know
Still,
it's time.
they're
It's time to
gone.
forget. It's time to forget. Also, have you seen Requiem for the Big East, the 30 for 30?
No.
Oh my God! If you want to get fired up for college basketball, watch that. You see some fiery Jim Boeheim moments. You gotta watch it. It's awesome if you're in college basketball mode.
Well, what if I don't want to get fired up for it? What if I want to stay very even keel?
You don't sleep in March. It's college basketball season, baby.
I don't sleep to begin with.
Okay, that's
Me
fair.
neither.
Yeah. Yeah, we're here. Yeah, fun fact. Every single one of us was actually here just grinding out the work last night. None of us sleep. It's
Right.
all about
Right.
it's all about the station.
All right, so talking ACC tournament, who do you guys think's on top?
I've said it for a few months now. Miami.
Oh,
I don't know if they're beating Duke today.
Look, you talk about teams getting hot. That is the team with the most momentum and most good vibes around them.
it's also a team that almost lost to Boston College yesterday, and now they're playing an angry Duke
They're
team.
9-point
Duke
dogs,
almost lost
bro.
to Syracuse.
They're 9-point underdogs.
Duke
That is
almost
exactly what
lost
the
to
Hurricanes
Syracuse
need.
with their best players barely playing well. I
Duke almost lost to Syracuse with Syracuse's best player on the bench.
That's true. That's true.
That's true, but I like Duke's team a lot better.
I don't think Duke's
Coach
losing.
K is obviously one of the best coaches
Yeah,
in
he's all right.
basketball.
He's okay.
He's okay. But I'm sorry, give the Hurricanes a chance. I have them going on. I have a close game with Duke. Duke, sure, maybe they're playing with a chip on their shoulder after a bad loss, but now Miami has also seen how Duke can be, and they've seen how they can take them down. Sure, yes, the Blue Devils did not have their top players in working order, but that doesn't matter. If that's how they're going to be, every part of the NCAA tournament, regardless of whether it's just a conference tournament, teams trying to make the big dance, it's all about momentum. It's all about momentum. Miami has it. Duke doesn't.
I'll give you
Duke
that
has momentum.
momentum-wise.
They just won a close game.
They just won a close game against
That
one of
was
the worst teams in the league.
Okay, but I think Duke's way better than Miami.
I think they are, but Miami they've got the momentum. Duke right now they're trending in a very sour direction.
I think Duke's trending up.
I think so too. I think when Duke played Syracuse yesterday, we saw a team that
Grew up.
didn't come out to play in the first half. They didn't even have their jerseys on before Syracuse was already winning at halftime. Then they decided to, actually kind of play, and yes, it was close for a little bit. We saw in that final minute or so, their talent took over. I mean, top 2 picking the draft, Paolo Banchero. He's just amazing. Mark Williams probably going to go into this tournament as the best big man. And certainly against Miami, I don't think they'll be able to stop him. They have too much talent to be stopped in the ACC.
I think Duke grew up yesterday. I got to give them a lot of credit. They were terrible last half. In the first half against Syracuse, and in the second half, they just dumped it inside and worked it against the 2-3 zone.
If I'm Duke, I'm happy I played a close game yesterday. They know what they need to do to get better now.
That's a young team who needs close games too.
Okay, it's a young team who lost to Miami already this season.
You think they're losing to Miami twice?
On a neutral site.
You think Coach K is losing to Jim Boeheim's evil twin, Jay Larranaga, twice?
It's not out of the
winning the
question.
ACC?
Miami? Yeah. I have them making the Sweet 16 run.
Whoa. That's a hot take.
They're a last 4 bye, I think. What does Lenardi have them?
Yeah, I think they might be a disappointment, honestly. The first round.
How could this team at all be a disappointment based on where they were placed beginning of the season? I mean,
okay, if we're talking disappointing season, no. Like they'll probably make the tournament, so I think it's overall a success. But I don't think it's going past. Hey, look at us, we made the tournament, yay! Nah, I don't think so.
I don't know. Hurricanes are good. Now let's take a look at the other side of the ACC, who's going into that championship game.
I think Virginia Tech keeps the momentum rolling. I think so. I think that's the sleeper you got to look out for. Kive Aluma is going to be really important in that because North Carolina's best player is Armando Bacot, and they're going to be matched up with each other. But I think North Carolina, I think their championship was that Duke game, to be honest. I think when they won in Cameron, that was their championship.
I'm surprised they didn't have a letdown game after that in the quarters.
Right.
Who did they beat in the quarters?
They beat Virginia. That game really wasn't close either.
No.
So
Virginia needed that game.
I don't think Virginia's very good. Now Virginia's out tournament talk.
Virginia Tech needs this
Virginia
game.
Tech also, if they win this game, they're probably in. That's what they're fighting for. Just like your Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah. I think UNC gets a bid regardless, so they can afford to be complacent.
UNC's in.
Virginia Tech.
God, the whole ACC might end up on the bubble. Notre Dame, Miami, UNC if they lose, Virginia Tech if they win.
Virginia Tech can make this thing very interesting.
They might just throw Syracuse in for fun too.
I think all three of us are prepared for the Hokies to send UNC into Never Never Land.
That could happen.
You know what could happen though?
Could happen.
A bid stealer could come in and ruin Virginia Tech.
If they
because
lose.
they need a win. If they
Virginia
lose, they're
Tech
out.
loses.
If they win, it gets interesting.
Oh, if Virginia Tech wins, not the whole tournament. Are you talking the whole tournament? Or
No,
today?
if they win today.
If they win today, they're right on the edge. But if a bid stealer comes in, they'll get.
I'm calling my shot. A-10 is going to have a bid stealer. If Davidson doesn't win, who else can win? Dayton can win.
Yeah,
St. Bonaventure. I'm looking at this right now. Dayton, St. Bonaventure, Richmond.
That's going to be huge.
St. Bonnie's, they're not even a bid stealer. I think they're legit.
They're not going to get in, though, if they lose.
They're not getting that large.
A-10's a one-bid league if Davidson wins.
Probably, unless they really like Dayton. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Dayton. Gotta get those.
You're an Obi Toppin guy?
Oh yeah, but you gotta give those Midwest schools some love. I feel like we keep it entirely on the East Coast for this one and a little bit on the West. But let's move.
I'm not gonna give Dayton any love. They beat Syracuse in the tournament a few years ago, and that crushed my soul.
Remember when Dayton was like a one seed? Like the 2019-20, like before COVID?
They're good.
With Obi Toppin, like.
I think Obi Toppin's overrated also. That's a conversation for a different day, though. But we'll keep it rolling.
Well, as we've been talking about teams on the coast, but what if we take it to the Midwest? Maybe not Midwest, but Mountain Time was the one that's
pretty far
2
west.
hours short of. Actually, you know what? There is a bit of West because there's UCLA.
Oh, we're talking Pac-12 now?
That is the definition of the West Coast. You just turned the Midwest into the West Coast.
That was the choppiest.
Right on.
Colorado is what got me wrong.
If you walk up to somebody at UCLA or USC and you tell them they live in the Midwest, they will laugh in your face.
That
and
was
probably
probably the
punch you.
choppiest toss I could have given into anything. But yeah, let's talk. We talked about the coasts. I guess we're keeping it on the coast then with the Pac-12. So who do you guys have coming out? Because we got Arizona and Colorado in that semifinal game, and then the Battle of SoCal.
I think that's really interesting. I think the Pac-12 is really top-heavy. I think this ends up being Arizona and UCLA. I think it's going to be chalk in the championship. And I'm rolling with UCLA. We've seen them win the big games before. They have upperclassmen leadership. And Arizona just doesn't look battle-tested. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, it's the Pac-12. Stanford almost beat Arizona. Stanford came back from 13 down against Arizona State. So it wouldn't surprise me if Colorado just steals a bit and just wins the Pac-12. Like last year when
that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
It's really tough for Colorado to beat Arizona.
Yeah, the only thing this year is the Pac-12 actually has a good team. Last year they didn't. That's why Oregon State kind of won it.
Look, I think the Pac-12 has 4 good teams. I think your semifinals right now are 4 good teams.
Colorado's
I think
kind of trash.
what is huge here is Arizona's playing to be a 1 seed. They lose to Colorado today, I could see them ending up being 5 or 6 overall. Like, they'll be a 2 seed, but you know what I mean. Like, they might lose their 1 seed spot in the NCAAs.
I have a source that goes to USC. Calls them pretenders.
Pretenders?
Yeah, he calls his team pretenders. So
I mean, their best
take it
player
like
is Evan Mobley's so-called big brother, but we know Evan's much better.
Yeah.
I'll take
I think-
UCLA and Arizona. I'll take that. But don't be surprised if Colorado wins because of the Pac-12.
I think if Colorado wins,
Stuff happens in
UCLA
the
blows
Pac-12.
them out. 30-point game.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised.
That's what everyone said about Oregon State. And they ended up winning Pac-12.
Okay,
They sold
but
their soul for
that
that
is,
elite.
that is such a cherry-picked answer, though, Anthony. That's
That's
like
an outlier.
Anything can happen in the Pac-12. And if
Just
so-
ask Bill Walton.
Yeah, that's right.
Just ask
Bill
Bill
Walton
Walton.
thinks like the whole Pac-12
He'll
should
tell
be in
you
the
all of
tournament.
the teams will win the championship.
They
You ask
have
him-
already. Actually, it's a sure thing.
Ask him how many teams end up in the tournament. I'm sure he won't leave
Next
anybody
time
out.
me and Billy are chilling, I'll
He probably has 8 teams in the tournament.
At least.
yeah. I mean,
He's got the whole conference, probably.
I can say that I think these 4 teams have a chance. Colorado obviously needs to beat Arizona.
They need to win the whole thing.
But I think UCLA and Arizona might be the only teams from this conference that make anything. I have UCLA winning
I
the
do too.
Pac-12.
I do too.
Because you know what? It's March. That's when Johnny Juzang
Johnny
wakes up.
Juzang cheese.
Johnny Juzang's coming out to play. We're going to see, prediction, 30 points against USC, 25 plus against Arizona. Roll momentum into the tournament.
UCLA is a tough team. I love
Well,
tough
look,
teams.
it's the Jays.
They are kind of upset prone, though. Like, they lost some weird games this year.
Oh, it's the Pac-12.
Yes.
They're just going to
Yeah.
skirt that out.
Look, they're the Jays. They've got it going. They got Johnny Juzang, Jaime
Hawkins.
Jaime
Hawkins.
Jaime's the man.
And then Jules Bernard.
Yeah.
Tiger Campbell?
They're talented.
That's
They're really
not a
talented.
J, though.
Oh,
Just Jays, Anthony.
okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny,
Tiger Campbell is
Get outta
pretty
here.
good.
Johnny, Jaime, Jesse, Jack. Oh. Come on, man.
Tiger.
Not the conference
Fight on,
champions.
though, guys.
Thanks.
USC.
I was going for alliteration. You were going for actual statistics. Yeah, I don't like it.
All right. Pac-12 I see is top heavy. I'm taking UCLA to win it, though.
I think that's what happens with all these conferences. They get very top heavy. It's only in the tournament that we see the top teams that were top teams in their conference be listed as 6, 7 seeds, and then we start talking about how the NCAA isn't top heavy.
I'm taking Colorado. No, I'm serious.
No, you're not.
No, I'm serious.
Actually,
honestly, don't be surprised if Colorado gives Arizona a run for their money.
I don't think they have a
they're
chance.
They're
not
going to cover today.
Okay, I can see them beating Arizona, but there's no way they beat either of the teams coming out the other side.
I guess.
I think that's a lot
Hey, you
like
beat Arizona,
I think that's a
you
lot like Oklahoma. Like, I don't think they're going to beat Kansas and then Texas Tech and then
definitely fair.
Kansas. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work out like that.
Okay, well,
Go Buffs.
go Buffs.
All right, let's. I think it's time to move on to an even deeper
you
conference.
You read my mind. Now, I usually think of them for football, and rightfully so, because let's face it, their football is so much better than their basketball, but they've also got pretty good basketball. SEC. What's
Just
happening?
means more, baby.
I think you just means more. Absolutely. I think you look at the SEC as a whole. I think this is the best conference in college right now. And I'm talking basketball, not even
It's not
football.
that. 10 years ago, you would have told me the SEC is the
Dude,
best
I would have
conference.
laughed in your face.
Yeah.
I would have said it's Kentucky and everybody else. Now, things have changed.
They're obviously much better as a football conference. This is the best conference in college basketball.
Yeah, I think they're really fun. They're deep. We probably have the number 1 overall pick in this
There's
conference,
NBA
Jabari
players in
Smith.
this conference.
There's a lot of talent here. like pro-ready players. That's why I think these games are going to be really fun to watch. Who are you guys taking to win the whole thing now?
Give me the Tigers. Give me
Which
LSU.
Tigers? LSU?
Give me LSU.
Whoa, okay.
I got slack for taking
Give me
Colorado.
LSU.
Man, you might be taking the wrong Tigers.
Give me LSU. I'm going to back that
Tell
up
me
with
why. Tell me
exactly
why.
zero information.
Oh, okay.
I just believe. Purple and gold.
I think all you want to hear is go Tigers. That's why.
Really, I want to hear Coach O come to Syracuse and say, go Orange.
Oh, my. Okay.
Could happen.
Okay.
Could
You're
happen.
getting me going now. Let's stay basketball. We're staying in college basketball.
I did not know Tennessee's the 2 seed. That kind of
Tennessee's
surprised
really
me.
good, but they're also upset prone.
Watch out for Arkansas. Arkansas's legit.
That's my team.
Get it on the
Get
right
Nick
side.
Luttrell on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Go Hogs!
Arkansas is my team to win this whole thing. I think that's kind of a sleeper pick because they'd have to run through Auburn and
They can beat Auburn.
First they got to beat LSU, but then they got to beat Auburn and then Tennessee or Kentucky.
They could beat Auburn on a neutral side.
I think so too.
Auburn can't shoot. That's why I'm like
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Jackie, you're wearing a Syracuse patch. Syracuse fans got first-hand knowledge of how good Auburn can be.
Yeah.
But that was early in the season, and I think while a lot of teams get better as the season goes along, Auburn, in my mind, has gotten worse.
They didn't peak at the right time. They were an early season peak. The one
very
thing
great
about
point.
them that's really weird is they probably have the best player in the nation on their team, Jabari Smith. Half the game they forget he's there. You
Yeah.
got 5'11" Wendell Green trying to run the show the whole game, and he forgets Jabari's even there.
Who's their big man?
Walker Kessler.
Walker Kessler.
He's a tank. You can't get much by him in the paint.
I just like it's with Auburn. I get that they underuse their best player, but maybe that's emblematic of something that we don't know. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure that he really is the best player in the entire country.
Could be. He might not be a
He's
leader
an
on that
NBA
team.
lottery pick, man.
Probably
Are you an
Yeah.
NBA lottery pick?
Am I?
Is
Yeah.
Jesse?
I think you know what, lottery. Forget the lottery. I'm going 3 seed. I'm getting pick number 3.
If
again.
Jesse's going
I'm a
3,
Ja-
we're
I'm
going-
a Jason Tatum pick right
If
here.
Jesse's going 3, we're going 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Anthony.
We're definitely going.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Sorry,
Markel
yes, you could.
Fultz and whoever was ahead of Tatum.
Is it Lonzo?
Yeah, two busts.
Lakers
2
selected
busts.
Lonzo, too.
I'm Jason Tatum. I'm dropping 54 on you guys.
Duke.
But yeah, I think Arkansas can win this tournament.
I do too. Musselman, head coach, that guy's electric. That's kind of why I love them. The teams that ride their head coach's energy, I love that.
Mick Cronin does that with UCLA
Yep.
too. They take his toughness.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I like JD Notai on that roster.
He
He's
is
a scorer.
incredible.
Now, we were talking about this before the camera started rolling, but Alabama, Jaden Shackelford, I think he's underrated at this point. I know Alabama gets a lot of hype. I think maybe they are overrated, but you got to talk about the Jumbos. You got to talk about the Crimson.
Did they
Crimson
lose?
Tides.
I think they are overrated. They lost to Scottie Pippen's son
I know.
in Vanderbilt last night. And as a tournament team, I think they're going to disappoint too. Unless they're going to get caught in a shootout first round because they don't play any defense. That game's it's going to be in the 80s, 90s
Really?
even. And I think they're going to disappoint. They've done it all year long. They have a lot of talent, but they haven't lived up to it.
Yeah,
Minardi has them as a 6 seed right now, which means they're going to
That's-
probably play
that's a
a Power
potential.
5 11 seed,
Mhm.
like one of those teams who played in the
Yeah.
first 4. So like, I
And a
don't
little Alabama, Indiana, maybe, bubble teams. We'll get
I
to
would
that
love
later.
to
Michigan.
see
He hasn't
Bama,
played Michigan
Indiana.
right now.
Ooh, interesting.
Michigan, Alabama would be interesting just because it's the same two fan bases that
I want to
clash
see
in the
Juwan Howard just
semifinals.
All right,
punch Nate Oates.
one SEC team we haven't mentioned once who used to run through this conference every single year, Kentucky.
Go Big Blue.
They have the most experienced head coach. He's a national champion. Roster's pretty young. That's kind of why I'm counting them out. I don't think they
Yeah.
have it, but they have the X factors.
I think they could
They
be
got
Tennessee.
Sheboy.
Sheboy is
I'm
awesome.
a big Oscar Sheboy guy.
Sheboy could go off for 30 and 30 any given night.
Yes, but when he doesn't do that, he scores like 2 points.
Yeah, that's
So
their
you got-
that's
Dude's
why
a
their ceiling's
rebounding
kinda low.
monster, though. I love
That's
him.
insane. Yeah, like you said, they're very young. I think maybe next year this is your team,
Mm-hmm.
but right now Kentucky, they're too flaky. They're gonna have good game. They're gonna have a great game, another great game, and then they're gonna flip the switch, and put up a 30 ball. Not 30. You know what I mean? I'm
you talk
exaggerating,
to
but
Calipari though. He's pretty slick. He might convince you that they'll win the whole thing.
He is kind of like that skinny
Yeah.
kind of guy.
Yeah.
What can he convince you of?
He's not convincing me that Kentucky's winning this thing.
That's
I'll
fair.
convince him that Arkansas is. But I do think the X factor in this tournament, Ty Washington. That dude's got a lot of talent. And he can, if he ends up leading this Kentucky team, if he can score the ball 20, 25 points, I can see them winning it all, but he hasn't been that consistent.
The Sheboy, Ty Washington.
Yeah,
combo.
that's a duo right there.
Big man. Ty's a guard, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. That would be the combo that would carry them to win. I don't think they have
Good
it,
big
though.
man, good guard that scores like 50 points in March. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Well, I agree.
Marching.
I think Arizona. I'm not Arizona. Arkansas. Sorry, still on the previous conference out there. Still in the Pac-12. I think.
It's on the mind, right? Pac-12's on the mind. It's on the mind.
Yeah, they're one of my top conferences in basketball right now, just
Power
as far
one.
as talent.
Power
Yeah.
one.
SEC. Well, I went back to the Pac-12, but the SEC also very good. Like I think the SEC is better. I think yes, the Razorbacks of Arkansas. I think they'll probably
need a
your
little
top
magic.
team. A little bit. I still think that they're your top team. Again, the Joe Burrow fan in me wants to talk about LSU. I think
No.
they're unranked. They're one of those unranked teams that's got the mojo. I mean, look, Xavier Pinson, their leading scorer, obviously not great to have a guy averaging around 10 points a game at the top of your list, but their defense is strong. I mean, ever since Shaq went there, they've been a defense-heavy school. Yeah, obviously.
They're trending down,
They've
bro.
gone way down.
Remember they were like
it.
15 in the
I think-
country and everyone was so hyped about
Yeah.
them and they just kept on losing.
They do have Shaq's son now, though, Sharif. He doesn't really play much now. He's not that
Well,
good.
no, he's not as good, and even
Yeah.
if he was, he's not.
Imagine
there yet.
imagine if we get some magic in the SEC tournament. We see Sharif O'Neal take a jump, become the next Shaq. That would be
Sharif
incredible.
O'Neal versus Scottie Pippen Jr.
Oh my God, that'd be
the
awesome.
90s all over again.
That'd be awesome.
Of course, none
that'd be
of us were
tough,
alive back then.
hard-nosed SEC basketball.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be fun. I don't know how much you can really say about Sharif as a player right now, but look, you trashed on Vandy earlier. Scottie Pippen Jr. deserves a little more love than what you're giving him, Jack.
He's put up good numbers this year. He's a good player. I think here's kind of a hot take. I think he's good stats on a bad team. I don't think he's going to be a great pro player. College, he's a fun player.
Is he one of those like mid-major guys who just goes off for 30 but their team never makes a tournament?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, God, you got to feel for Vandy. Yes, baseball powerhouse, but they're a cellar dweller in football and basketball.
Yeah. Anthony, we were just talking about this.
We were
the other
just
day.
talking-
There
I was
are
just looking-
4 schools in all of college sports this season who have went under 500 in football, women's basketball, and men's
In the
basketball.
regular season. They're over 500 now because they won conference
It's
tournament games.
Cal, it's West Virginia, it's Syracuse, and
Yeah.
it's Vanderbilt.
Oh, man. You got to hate to be in that conversation. That's brutal. That is brutal as a Syracuse fan.
Yeah, I mean. By the way, Anthony was the man who found that stat. And
That is pretty
we
cool.
were
That's a
talking
good
about
stat.
it. I asked him about it. He found it, and then we had a whole hullabaloo figuring out how bad is that really, because it's something that Syracuse has never
Well,
done.
yeah, you being grouped with Vanderbilt in any college sport's pretty bad,
Except
for
baseball.
baseball.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Yeah,
so.
right.
Yeah. Maybe Vandy softball is pretty good. Anthony, you're a bit of an authority on softball.
I do like Syracuse.
You may have some sort of affinity for it for some reason. He might be the CitrusTV softball beat reporter, just might. But back to the SEC conversation. I want to talk one more time about LSU. Look, they took Arkansas to a 1-point game a few games ago. Sure, they went on a bit of a losing stretch near the end of the season, but there they are beating Bama. There they are almost topping Arkansas. These are ranked teams they're in the conversation
Fair.
with. Go Tigers!
I don't think they have it. I don't think they have the firepower.
I don't think you've got the firepower.
I have the firepower. It's March. I woke up ready to go. We sleep in May. I'll say it again. It's March. That is not LSU's month. I'll tell you that. You don't see any
always
LSU
been bad
magic.
in the
They have.
I feel like they're always an 8-9 seed and they just get smoked.
Then they blow it.
Oh, yeah, they're not going anywhere in the NCAA tournament, but I think...
Well, you're picking them to win the whole thing.
No, I'm picking Arkansas. I just want to talk about LSU.
Okay.
I think they're going to... If they can beat Arkansas, that would be astounding. I don't think they're getting much further than that because they've got burnout. But they're an exciting team, I think. I think
I'd
you're
take
giving them way
Vandy
too...
over LSU, to be honest.
I think you're giving them way too little credit.
Watch out for A&M,
Whoa. Vandy over LSU.
A&M.
Vandy's one of the worst teams in college basketball. LSU's got a winning record.
Yeah, Vandy just beat Alabama. They must be decent. LSU. Not riding that wagon.
But I think what we're seeing is, yes, Alabama is a fake team at this point.
Yeah, I agree. They're kind of a nobody.
Now, we've gone Big 12, Pac-12, Big East, ACC, SEC, Big 10. Probably the biggest misnomer in all of college sports because they've got, 20 teams at this point. Who do you have coming out of that monster of a division?
I think they're similar to SEC in that they are really deep. You could see any of these teams making runs in the NCAAs. But my pick for the conference tournament, give me Wisconsin. This team looks like they've got some March magic going. I think Johnny Davis is probably him and Keegan Murray, Iowa's forward. I think they're probably the two best players in the conference. But give me Johnny Davis and the Wisconsin Badgers. I think they're going to run through this thing.
Give me Jaden Ivey, an NBA player,
I love
and Zach
Ivey.
Edey. Big men and an NBA player in March. Boom. End of story. I think Purdue could beat Wisconsin.
I think I might be taller than Zach Edey, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I wish I was taller than Zach Edey.
I don't think you'd be
How
able
tall
to
is he?
fit
Let me see.
7'4", maybe.
Yeah, 7'4". Remember Harms at Purdue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Did they just pump those guys out?
Purdue and Florida State have 7-footers that grow on trees.
They are
every year.
massive.
7 foot, 7'3", 7'4". But
And then they had Carson Edwards 3 years ago. Who's
Yeah.
who's 4'8".
Yeah. But I really haven't seen that success amount to anything. Purdue has been a big March disappointment
That's fair.
in the last
Yeah,
decade.
that's fair.
They've had the teams just like they do now. Jaden Ivey is probably a top 5 player in the nation.
Wait, you can't call that 2019 roster a disappointment.
They didn't win the championship.
No, they didn't, but they weren't supposed to. They made it incredibly far.
How far did Carson Edwards go? Sweet 16, right? Or Elite 8?
Elite 8.
Okay. They lost to
mean,
Virginia.
Yeah.
Remember that tap out by Diatike?
Yeah, they lost to Virginia in a close game at the end of one of Virginia's top runs in college basketball.
You're living in the past.
Purdue's
going to disappoint again.
Yeah, this year they're going to disappoint.
Yeah.
But you can't call that 2019 team a disappointment. I'm just a big Carson Edwards fan. He's roughly my height. That's what I like about him.
One
and he's
thing
in the
I want to
NBA.
see, we know Illinois is pretty dang good, led by Coffee Coburn, however you say his name.
Coburn?
Yeah, we'll pretend I said Coburn. I totally said Coburn. So I want to see him against Zach Edey. Get a little battle of the bigs down low.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Illinois goes deep in March. Just as a revenge tour after losing to Loyola.
Yeah,
I thought last year was the
can't believe-
team.
I can't
They
believe
were
thought
my national
last year was-
champion pick
same
last year.
here.
I thought they were fake the entire time.
Who was your national champion pick? Creighton?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to this guy, folks.
In my I won my main
Baylor.
bracket. The
Oh, that's
CitrusTV
right.
bracket
That's right.
with the Baylor Bears.
Oh, yeah, you picked Baylor.
I know what I'm talking about, Anthony.
I'll give you credit.
That's pretty good.
I know what I'm talking about. And I also know that Illinois, while they've got a good basketball program this year, any school even associated with Tommy DeVito has no place in any tournament.
Wow.
Use Syracuse
That's
homer
brutal.
here.
Yeah, they're going to make the NCAA tournament. That's for sure. But I think you can sort of lean on it's cliche, but it's Iowa. Number 1 seed.
They do have the offense.
I think
for it.
Iowa's
Yeah.
fun because let me tell you why. Big Ten, football and basketball. You think hard-nosed defense,
8-win Iowa, Kirk Ferentz.
like 45 to
running the
50
football.
games. Exactly. In football, you got 10 to 3 games, 6 overtimes. But
Big Ten.
in basketball, Iowa, they're an offensive powerhouse. They put up 112 last night. They can score with anybody, which if they got hot and they can do that every night, yes, they could very well win this thing. I don't think you can win by solely leaning on your offense the entire time.
Not in this Big Ten. There's so many good teams defensively. So many good teams.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it earlier. The Hoosiers, Indiana, is an interesting school. I'm not convinced on them, but yeah, I think they're a team that could be last 5 in, maybe even better than that.
They need to win today.
Oh,
If they win today, I
Yeah,
think they're in.
I think so too.
I think they're in.
I think they might be in without it.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Well, we'll get to that later.
I like their color scheme, that kind of darkish red. I think that
Like
looks
the peppermint stripe pants. Are you a peppermint stripe pants guy?
yeah. I think that looks good with the NCAA logo behind it instead of just the Big Ten one. Even though Big Ten, what is it with college basketball in light blue?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The NCAA logo, ACC logo. and Big Ten logo, Big 12.
What do you want the
light blue.
ACC to be purple or something?
Yeah.
I want like the entire spectrum to be used for the color scheme. I think for something like college sports that's so interesting as far as teams' colors, I think the conference logos could be a little more representative.
How do we get from Indiana to the color spectrum?
I have
Because
no
Indiana
idea.
has a nice smoky red.
I'll tell you what about
Anthony.
Indiana. Okay, I don't know where colors came into this. If we're talking colors, the Big Ten, Northwestern probably coolest colors, but
I love
that
that.
doesn't
Purple's
matter
nice.
because they're bad. But Indiana, have you seen Trace Jackson Davis play? That dude can fly.
Oh my God.
He dunks on everybody and their mother.
I think my mother could play pretty good defense.
On Trace Jackson Davis?
Yeah, she's pretty strong.
I do not want my mom on the court with Trace Jackson
she's
Davis.
at least taking a charge.
Maybe my
Job.
grandmother.
How about the job Mike Woodson's doing? I got to give him credit.
I am surprised. I am
Archie
surprised.
Miller drove that program into. Well, Tom Crean kind of did it too, but like.
And he did it
There
to
were-
George too.
Hey, yeah, they just got fired at Georgia. Look at that.
There's a lot of factors that went into that. Now, so I like Iowa. Indiana is an interesting program, and we've ripped on Purdue, but Big Ten, Michigan and Ohio State. They're two schools that you can never really forget to talk about in either football or basketball.
They're synonymous, yeah.
So, what's going on there? What's going on when the Wolverines get involved and the Buckeyes?
Well, they both lost, right?
Yeah,
Ohio
I mean,
State. What did Ohio State lose to?
Yeah, yes, they lost, but when you're
They
talking
lost to
about the
Penn
NCAA
State.
tournament too.
I think they're both disappointments. Ohio State's has been losing games like this all year. I mean, they ended up as a pretty good team. They're 6th seed in this tournament. Solid team, but dang, they are prone to disappointing everybody.
Yeah.
And I think they have the talent, but they just didn't put it together.
Are they the Bama of the Big Ten?
Yes.
They have the talent.
Yes,
but
I
they're
like
just
that.
Going to just flat out
Yes.
flop in the tournament.
You know, when you talk about Ohio State, you know, I come from an Ohio State family to a certain degree. A couple of my uncles went there. Now we keep it Syracuse for now, but my mother did go to Michigan, and I said she'd take a charge. So I think that there's something working for the Big Blue once you get for the Wolverines when you get to the tournament. Go Blue! Look, how many times do you have a team that loses their conference championship, doesn't even make it to the conference championship, that makes a run in the tournament?
I don't know if that happens.
Not very much.
It's happened. I mean, Baylor didn't win the Western Conference, did they?
You mean the Big
Big
12?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Their division. They didn't win last year.
Baylor? What's Baylor going up against the Warriors or something? No. But Michigan, similar to Ohio State, good team early in the season, kind of tailed off at the end. They are a somewhat experienced team. And as much as Juwan Howard's been in the news for the wrong reasons, I think he's a decent coach. I think they're going to
Who can
disappoint
score on
too.
Michigan outside of Hunter Dickinson?
That's a good question.
Caleb Houston's pretty talented as a freshman, but he hasn't been that
Remember
good.
Brad Dykes at Michigan?
Yeah.
He was their only scorer. Hunter Dickinson's their only scorer this year, and Michigan has a ceiling.
Remember the
so.
Wagner brothers?
I do remember the Wagner.
That
Final
was a
Four, Michigan, Mo Wagner.
That was a crazy time in college basketball when Mo Wagner could go that far. And now Franz Wagner is supposed to be better. I don't know. Look, I also have a bit of a vendetta out right now for Ohio State because our ice hockey beat reporter Chile was just stranded out there in the Columbus
brutal.
airport along with Jared Johnston,
it's
another
Ohio
one of
State's fault.
our guys. But you know, I think we're running out of time here. Now, I wanted to get to our bubble teams to talk about Xavier. I brought my Cincinnati hat to talk about how far I think they're going to go. Not very far, however, I think they're still a fun program. But that's about all the time we've got on the No Pulp podcast this week. So thank you for joining us. I'm Jesse Cook. He's Anthony Vasquez, Jack Gordon. We talked a little bit. Maybe you can think about it. Maybe not. I'd prefer if you actually didn't think about some of the takes we made. So until next week, actually not next week, the week after, this has been the No Pulp podcast on Citrus TV. Keep watching. Keep listening.